If you're new to KDP and you haven't actually loaded up a book before, then today's lesson is going to be perfect for you. Hi, my name's Romney Nelson and I'm part of the Life Graduate Publishing Group, or the founder, and I've published well over 350 books both on KDP but also other platforms like Ingram Spark. So in today's lesson, I just want to run through with you, nice and simply, those steps you need to follow to give your book every opportunity to be able to be published and then to be able to launch. Because publishing on KDP is an excellent way to be able to develop both the business but also passive income. And those first steps can be daunting. I remember when I did my first few books, I had KDP come back to me with a few things about my cover that I needed to change. And they're sort of the kind of things that I want to be able to help you with. But along with creating and actually publishing, I want to help you scale your business. So if you actually haven't watched any of my videos before, make sure that you give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get more of the lessons and the videos that I'm creating. So in a moment, let's jump onto KDP and I'll make it as simplified as I can and go through those steps to make sure that you get your book loaded to KDP successfully, and we can actually make sure that the upload process works for you. So let's get into that now. So, very first thing we need to do before we do any steps is to create our account. Now, I've already created an account. However, if you haven't done that yet, what you need to do is just go to kdp.amazon.com and create your account. Now, it's a simple process. The hardest steps that people tend to find is the financial account details. That's not something, unfortunately, I can provide guidance on because it depends on the country you're in and the banking details and your tax information. However, it's a very simple process that they make. So you just need to create your account before you go through any further steps. And Amazon do have videos about, or KDP have videos about how to do that. So what you do once you've got your account, sign in, and the first process that we want to do is create our paperback book. So we'd click on paperback, and this would take us to the first page of what we need to do to start filling everything in. Now this is a process which you need to be organized prior, and the way that I do it is by creating a Word document. So I've got all the details that I need before I start filling in the document here, or the KDP. So let me show you as an example what I've done. So if you're not sure how to create a book, what I'll do, just above me, I'll provide a link to a video I did about creating an easy journal or a blank line composition book. And if you'd like to create your book first, of course, before you do anything, go for it. But I think definitely get your account sorted with Amazon, with KDP, then do your book creation and then get ready for this process. So check out that video first. What I would do is I create a Word document like this for every book that I do. Simply got the title. So it might be, I'm going to be doing just a very simple, like a watercolor notebook, just to make the process simple for us. I wrote down the subtitle, and so we've got the Floating in the Clouds notebook, and you'll see why soon. I've got the beautiful watercolor lined notebook journal, and as part of the description, what I've done is created it here, and then I've formed it into an HTML code. Again, I'll provide a link to the video that I've done about creating book descriptions and to make sure that they stand out, and to be able to create this HTML code that allows you to have bolder headings and makes the formatting much, much better. So this is the description I've provided. So drift and float in the clouds with this lined notebook featuring beautiful watercolor cover art. And that will be in, when I actually load it, it'll sort of be like that. That's the way I've done the HTML code. This journal provides room for writing notes, stories, journaling, or ideas. It can be used as a notebook, diary, or composition book. Product features. So this is where you start to list a few of the features of your book. Matte cover for that luxurious feel. Now it depends on, I'll go through the difference between a matte cover book and a gloss cover when we load our book up. 7x10 with 120 wide rule pages. Perfect gift idea for adults, kids, girls, boys, teens who love to write. Blank notebooks are perfect for, and I include this because it could just be an idea that is suggested that they might buy a couple of them. It might be a gift, it might be a teacher gift, art classes, diaries, gifts, whatever it might be. So I just like to include that. Then I've got my HTML code, which is the code I'll insert, which I'll show you. And then I've got my 7 keywords. Again, I'll show you where these go. So I would highly recommend doing either this on a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. Then it's really easy to refer to when you're loading up your book. You don't have to be researching. You should do all of that before you load your book. Let's go back to our details here. Book title. So I simply copy this and I place it into this section just here. Our subtitle, I get that and I copy it and I'll place it in right here. You can add a series. If your book is part of a series, you can do that. This book's not going to be like that, but I have done a few books in the past which are part of a series, and I do that. Don't worry about edition number. The author, so let's call it Modern Magic Designs. I've purposely kept that as one word. It's just it's an author's, it's a name that I've just used for a few books that I've just sort of helped people out with to create. Contributors, if there was someone else that helped contribute as part of that book, like an illustrator, you might like to include that, or even might be another publishing name. So if you had your name as the primary author and then you had your brand name, you can include that there. The description. Now, Amazon do provide the opportunity for you. So just say I had this description here, we could insert that into this section, into this field, and we can use their tool to be able to make the heading normal, bold it, those sorts of things as well. I prefer to do it another way, and again, check out that video about creating a book description that stands out. I prefer just to pull in the HTML code immediately, and you just simply copy it. That's the importance of being organized, and you plug it in there like that. Just copy and paste. Then we go down to here. Do I own the copyright? Yes. And make sure that you don't copy anyone else's material. Ensure you do any trademark searches and things like that. There's videos about doing those sort of searches. Make sure you own the copyright. Don't put anyone else's material or anything that you aren't supposed to be putting on there because you don't want to compromise your account. The 7 keywords, again, check out the video above about your 7 keywords and the method I use personally to ensure that you're filling in these keywords correctly, because when you're ranking with Amazon, when your book is ranking in regards to the keywords, there's a priority order. There's your book title, so you try and include, say, notebook or whatever keywords in there. I've got watercolor or lined notebook journal in my subtitle. Amazon don't rank or have any rankings in regards to keywords in your description, but for the customer it's important. But your last opportunity to include keywords is in this section here. So what I'd simply do is I would copy these here and I would add those to, oops, I just need to make sure I don't have number 1, and I'll fix that on my document here. That was just to show the 7 keywords. So we'd get rid of that, and I will pause this video while I copy all these into the boxes. And you don't need to fill in all 7 boxes, but it's just what I like to do. So let me just pause this for a moment. And what I've done now is I've filled in all of those keywords. The next section is the categories. Now, categories, you can really choose what you want, but I would suggest choosing those categories which relate to your book. You don't want to be having a book, a teacher appreciation book, and list it under trains and automobiles, for example. So And so you can click on here. This will take you to the section to be able to help you. Now there's another tool you might like to use, and it's called bookbolt.io. And I've got a link below if you want to use this, and I've talked about it in other videos, but they do offer some free resources, and one of those is a Kdp Category Finder. So what you do, you just jump onto bookbolt.io, and then this will take you to a section where you can just do a bit of a search to find if there's any particular areas that you want to do. So for example, if we were doing watercolor, let's just have a look and see whether anything comes up in regards to what. So here we go, non-fiction art techniques, watercolor painting. So non-fiction art techniques. So what we go non-fiction art, and we go down to techniques, and we go to watercolor. So that's a quick way to be able to find ones that are going to be suitable to your area. And then you might want to have another one which might be, let's just write journal, oops, and we have a look at that, and brings up different ones. So let's try that top one, literary collections, diaries and journals. So if we go back, no, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find this, but we'll have a crack at it. Literary collections, no, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, but I will just pause this. Maybe it's in this one. Here we go, diaries and journals. Save that. So we've got our two categories which are applicable to the book that we're going to be doing. Adult content. If your book doesn't contain adult content, you just do no. So does this book contain language, situations or images inappropriate for children under the age of 18? No, my book doesn't. So what you need to do, and with the categories, by the way, you can choose up to 2. So just find them. Don't spend a long time trying to search. It's not critical, but if you can find a subject area or a category which is suitable for your book, then that's fine. But it's not going to make a huge difference, because you can actually apply for additional categories up to 8 per book, and that will be another video I can help you in regards to how to add extra categories to your book. We then simply save and continue, and this will allow us to move forward. So it's saved successfully, and once the next page comes up, this is where we start to load our documentation. So you do get the opportunity of getting a free ISBN. Now, an ISBN is the unique identification for your book. You do have the opportunity of getting a free one with KDP. Some people in certain countries can get a free one. For example, I think in Canada, they can apply and get a free ISBN. If you were to use, say, a platform like Ingram Spark, you do need to buy an ISBN, and they can be, up towards $50, for example, for one ISBN. But if you buy them in bulk, they work out to be about $5 US for about 100 of them. But in this situation, I'm just going to assign the free one. So they give me a free one. Again, this is the beauty of KDPs. You can do this process for free, really. Publication date, just leave that one. You've got your print options. So it depends on what your book is. If it's just a lined blank journal, then you're just going to have either black and white interior with cream paper or white paper. If you've got some photos or illustrations and you'd like some color, then you can do the standard, or you can go for premium. Of course, the cost of the printing will get higher and higher. We're just going to use the black and white interior, so it shows you a picture here. If we went to premium, it changes the colors there. So we're just going to do black and white interior. Now your trim size. You have the option of choosing different trim sizes. The book that I'm going to upload today is a 7 by 10 inch. You can do, there's a whole heap of different sizes you can do. In fact, you can even define your own size and select it. So these are the most common ones up the top. Then you got standard trim sizes. 8.5 by 11 is quite popular. We're going to use 7 by 10 today. Now there's a bleed or no bleed. Now this can be confusing for some people. No bleed is when it actually when you load your book, there's a little bit of a red dotted line. If your book content is within that red area, then it's no bleed. If you have illustrations which extend beyond that and would sort of go beyond the pages, then you would choose bleed. We're going to keep it simple today and just choose no bleed. Again, with the book, with the blind journal that I teach people how to do and how to do their first couple of KDP books, I teach you a free method to get your manuscript and also to use no bleed, but bleed is also an option, and these are, you use a PDF document. The Paperback Finish, you have the option of either matte or gloss. Now gloss is going to be better for those books maybe that have a lot of fingertip, like it might be a journal that a kid's using and they're touching it a lot and it's easy to wipe clean. A matte finish has more of that luxurious sort of feel and soft. However, it can be a bit sticky for fingerprints and there are usually marks left on it. So it is your decision what you like to do. I tend to use gloss a lot, but for like a longer form book, I'd use the matte cover. It's just a nice feel about it. But if they're exercise books or books that have a lot of, I guess, touching, then the gloss might be more suitable. So in this circumstance, we're going to choose a gloss. Now, this is where we do our manuscript. So what we're going to be doing is uploading the book just here. So what we would do is simply click this button here. Okay, so I've got the folder and what the book is. So we've got the notebook final manuscript, and I've done a 7 by 10 as well. So we click that one because that's the manuscript, and we just wait for that to upload. So what I'll do is just pause it while it uploads for us to make it a bit more efficient with time. Okay, and that's processing. So you can upload a Word doc or an RTF. I just use PDF. I just find that it has less problems in regards to uploading or even the end experience for the customer and the clarity of it. So I would recommend PDF, but you do have a few different options here. The next thing is the book cover. So you can use the Kdp Cover Creator. I have never really used it. I don't find it to be the best way of creating the best covers. So I tend to use a PDF document. Again, I teach you that in the lesson in regards to book creation, and it needs to be in PDF only. So I click this button and it says upload your cover file. So upload a cover ready, print ready PDF only, and you check this box if you're uploading includes barcode. So some books do have a little barcode, but when you choose the through Amazon KDP, I don't ever use a barcode. And when you're using that cover, the creator, which I'll part of the book creation video that I've done, you leave a space for that barcode to appear. So we don't check that box. Upload your cover, and we simply choose that PDF. So I've got the Cloud Notebook cover, 120 pages, so I'll know which one it is. And we open. Then we wait for this to upload. A part of the uploading process is it can take anywhere from 3 or 4 minutes up to 10 minutes, even longer, depending on your internet speed as well. So this is just loading, and when it does load up, don't push launch previewer immediately. I'll show in a moment. I'll just pause it while this loads up because it could take a couple of minutes. Now notice how it says processing your file. It says on both the manuscript and also the cover. Leave it, don't push this yellow button or orange sort of button until you see your cover appear on here. If you do that, it just takes forever. I'll find it takes longer than waiting for your to process. So I'll pause again and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so you can see how the cover has now loaded up and the manuscript, so there's no processing. Once this is done, this is my simple notebook that I've done and I've created. So we then go to Launch Previewer. And Launch Previewer gives us the opportunity of just checking everything's okay, and Amazon will do an initial check just on the system to make sure it meets their specifications. It says quality check here, so it didn't find any issues that will prevent from submitting your book, and they'll manually check it. So a person will go over it to make sure it meets their quality standards, and there's no sort of issues with it in regards to title or subtitle or anything like that as well. So let's just wait for this to appear. Okay, so it is now processed. So the main thing that we want to do is to check all the features are correct. So this red line that runs around the border here, all your writing needs to be inside that line. The white line is where the potential cut of the book will occur. So anything outside there will be cut off. So if you had images that you wanted to make sure were inside the book cover, they needed to appear. So these seagulls here, this one here will be probably cut. The other thing is just to check that the main spine is where you want it to be. There's no writing or any information underneath the barcode, and everything falls into this area. So we can zoom up, we can make sure that the writing doesn't appear under there at all, and we can zoom forward. So just say you wanted to go to page 85 and check out if it's all good. So this checks the manuscript and we are good. This is just a line journal, so we don't have anything to be worried about there. So they are the main features that you need to make sure, and the quality check will always tell you if there's an issue. And it usually happens when you might forget to tick a box. I'll show you. So what we do, we'd approve that with the yellow box there. Sometimes errors can occur, and I'll show you in a sec. If you accidentally tick the wrong size of your book, so you might have, your manuscript might be an 8.5 by 11, but you've ticked a 7 by 10, or potentially bleed. You could have done that incorrectly when you've got your manuscript. So they're just a couple of things to check as well. So what we do, we just check over, make sure everything is good, and this is the printing price. So this is the price that it's going to cost to print your book, not your royalty. We go on to the next page for that. So that just confirms the details there. We then simply go save and continue. And then this will take us through to the next page, which is the financials. So you get the opportunity to set in your price, about the price that you think is going to be competitive. And you would have done some research about what other books are selling in your niche, and you need to be competitive upon launch. So don't try and overprice your book, and also don't underprice it so much, because there is that fine line between people thinking about the quality of your book as well. So we go through here. You can choose the marketplace where you primarily think you're going to be selling a book. So if you did say UK, everything, the top one would change to the English pound, but we'll keep it in the UK, in .com. And we are going to set our book. So this at the moment, it says the printing cost, as I mentioned before, $2.29. It says that we have a minimum cost we need to set our book, so it's not negative, of $3.82. We don't tick the expanded distribution. There's no royalty amount there because our price of the book's too low. If we were, for example, going to make that $14, then it depends on the size of the book whether they permit you to do expanded distribution. And expanded distribution will get you into other bookstores, not just Amazon. There might be other online bookstores that Amazon have partnerships with and go through, but in this situation they're not even allowing us to tick expanded distribution. So let's go back here, let's price our book. Let's just go $4.99 to begin with, and that will give us a $70 royalty. And then what we need to do is just make sure that we're comfortable with that. And if it's a blank line journal, then it's one of those things where the pricing structure of your book needs to be competitive, but you don't want to be creating a book that you don't really make much from. So I'm comfortable at this stage with 70 cents. It's not that much, but if you sell quite a few units, that's okay. But this is for illustration purposes only. So we go through and we just write down, or we note down the cost of English pound, and just check all these other countries as well. And Canada, $6.25, and Australia is $8.71 because with GST. So then all we need to do is publish our book, and this will now save, and you will become an official author of low content books or no content books. You could also be using this video to upload high content books as well. Whichever way, congratulations for going through the process of creating your first book and uploading it to KDP. It's a great feeling. So what will happen now is it'll end up coming up with your cover, just confirming the details. Now, the time it does take for KDP to confirm it, because someone will physically check your book, even though they've approved that initial process, someone will need to physically check it to make sure it meets their guidelines. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, you need to make sure if your title is Floating in the Clouds Notebook, you need to include that on your book somewhere or on the spine. So Floating the book is in the top there, and we go through the process and we go push close, and we're on our way. So I'll finish the video now just to summarize everything that we've done. So I'm hoping that those simple steps have made it easy for you to be able to upload your book to KDP. And part of the videos that I'm creating is all about teaching you to become better at self-publishing, create better books, find those niches and those keywords which are going to be able to help you scale your publishing business. And what the most important thing is you try and get those key elements right, like the book cover, like the book description, and then making sure that all the elements come together as part of your launch to launch successfully. So if you are interested in those sort of things, as I mentioned at the start, make sure that you subscribe, hit that notification bell and give me the thumbs up if you like the video, and you can continue to follow and see some of the videos that I'm producing. So until the next video, I'll see you then.